All right, class, welcome to this unit on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe as we look at C.S. Lewis, some aspects related to the Chronicles of Narnia. Here's the deal. Just really hope that you have enjoyed the opportunity to get to read this. Half of you, not sure the percentages, but there's some of you who have read it before, and I hope that you're enjoying reading it again. Please read it again. I read it as a kid. I have read it when I was overseas serving as a missionary. I had the opportunity and privilege now to read it to my own kids, and it's been such a blessing to read it and just enjoy it. So there are some of you who have read it before, and look, I hope that there's quite, some of you that have never read it before, never had that opportunity. You've heard the references, you've heard people talk and discuss about it. You probably might even be in that category where you've watched the movies before, but you've never given the opportunity, been given the opportunity to read it. So I hope that that's been a blessing to you. And there's so many different books. I was thinking about this for this class. Of course, we've focused on all these different world religions and their sacred texts. We've even looked at some aberrations of Christianity, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, things like that. And so there's so many different things that we could have focused in on. But I really believe that it's quite common for you to hear references related to C.S. Lewis, especially to Narnia and this book in particular. Just in the same way that out there, American culture, but even beyond, you hear references regarding J.R. Tolkien and The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, things of that nature. So these are two. I'd be curious your thoughts through discussion, some books that you think are just some really essential books to look at from a Christian cultural perspective. We don't want to be cultural Christians in the sense that we're Christians just because the culture is, but we do want to be cultural Christians in the sense in which we're familiar with culture, with pop culture, with things that are taking place in and around us, and of course we understand Christian culture type of references like the one that we're dealing with right now. I just want to draw your attention to some of the aspects of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that I really love. I think at the core of what I really love about it is centered around this particular character, Edmund. I just really enjoy his character, even though he is like the troublemaker. He's the one that, of course, doesn't believe Lucy. When Lucy goes into Narnia for the first time, actually follows her into Narnia and then kind of lies about it to Peter and to Susan. He's the one that eats the Turkish delight and is tricked by the White Witch and the betrayal that takes place and the way in which he has to be kind of restored through Aslan. And it's kind of a little bit of the center of the story, all the trouble that Edmund produces and the ways in which Aslan comes back and the way in which we get to really just enjoy that story of redemption in and through the figure of Edmund. So I just want to bring to your attention just two quotes in particular. See if I can find from chapter 8 a little bit earlier on. Take a look at where it is. Let's find it. No, I went too far. Draw your attention. There it is. I highlighted it for us. Bring this over here. You can actually see this quote up on my whiteboard right behind me. This is the time in which we have the sons of Adam, the daughters of Eve, that's Peter and Edmund, Susan and Lucy, who are there with Mr. and Mrs. Beaver. And there's still winter at this particular time, and they're really discovering this character Aslan. And so let me just read it so you can see one of my favorite aspects of this book. It says, "It's no good, son of Adam, said Mr. Beaver, no good your trying of all people, but now that Aslan is on the move." "Oh yes, tell us about Aslan," said several voices at once, for once again that strange feeling, like the first signs of spring, like good news, had come over them. "Who is Aslan?" asked Susan. "Aslan," said Mr. Beaver. "Why, don't you know? He's the king, he's the lord of the whole wood, but not often here, you understand, never in my time or my father's time, but the word has reached us that he has come back. He is in Narnia at this moment. He'll settle the White Queen all right. It is he, not you, that will save Mr. Tumnus." "She won't turn him into stone too?" said Edmund. "Lord love you, son of Adam, what a simple thing to say," answered Mr. Beaver with a great laugh. "Turn him into stone? If she can stand on her 2 feet and look him in the face, it'll be the most she can do and more than I expect of her. No, no, he'll put all to right, as it says in an old rhyme in these parts." That's what I have up here. "Wrong will be right when Aslan comes in sight. At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. When he bares his teeth, winter meets its death, and when he shakes his mane, we shall have spring again." "You will understand when you see him." "But shall we see him?" asked Susan. "My daughter of Eve, that's what I brought you here for. I'm to lead you where you shall meet him," said Mr. Beaver. Is he a man?" asked Lucy. "Aslan a man?" said Mr. Beaver sternly. "Certainly not. I tell you he is the king of the wood and the son of the great emperor beyond the sea. Don't you know who is the king of beasts? Aslan is a lion, the great lion." "Ooh," said Susan, "I thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion." "That you will, dearie, and no mistake," said Mrs. Beaver. "If there's anyone who can appear before Aslan without their knees knocking, they're either braver than most or else just silly." "Then he isn't safe?" said Lucy. "Safe?" said Mr. Beaver. "Don't you hear what Mrs. Beaver tells you? Who said anything about safe? Course he isn't safe, but he's good. He's the king, I tell you." One of my favorite places in this particular book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I'd be curious your thoughts if you have any favorite quotes, any moments within the book as well. And feel free to chime in through your reading report and also through some of the course discussions that we have. So just back to here, 2 things I want to bring to your attention. There will be links provided for you to be able to read through these, and then an opportunity for you to use them for your reading report and also for your discussion. First of all, just want to draw your attention to this one, Why Read the Chronicles of Narnia? And so this is a great article that I want you to read by Leland Ryken. He is also someone I referenced at the beginning of this semester, beginning of this class, as we talked about initially why we should read the classics. And so he's going to give a great overview of Chronicles of Narnia. It is a quick 5-minute read, how the Narnian stories were composed, how they became Christian classics right here, the spiritual and moral lessons from Narnia. And so just read through this real quick. It'll be a great blessing to you. I've read through it several times before. Additionally, just as a means of understanding that there are different ways you can go about reading all of them, the Chronicles of Narnia. And this is actually a friend of mine, Trevin Wax, who back in 2013 wrote and talked about why you should read Narnia in publication order. So that's his perspective. And just take a look at this real quick. I'll also provide a link for you that there are 3 ways that you can read through the 7 Chronicles of Narnia books. You can read according to the date of composition. You can also read according to chronological order. And then Trevin Wax, he makes a case for reading it via publication order. So just take a look at this. It's fascinating to just kind of look into the details of that. And my hope is that you have now read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that you'll visit these again, and you'll see that it's not only important to read this, but it's also important to read other commonplace and famous Christian classics, just because of how you can hear those references and understand those references within culture and within society, and then how it can also be applied to you even when it comes to your devotional life and your spiritual life. So I hope you've had a great time reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Looking forward to interacting with you through your reading report and through your discussion.